All right, I'll take a quick look at the metals this evening. Of course, this may change by the open tomorrow, but as of this evening anyway, gold is breaking above this trend line. Um, we've been in this sideways consolidation now for 2 months. As I've said before, these long basing patterns can produce some pretty strong trending moves, so there's potential for that. Um, Probably a pretty good chance that the banks are going to hit this either before the open or not long after the open, try and drive this down. So what's going to be important is how gold closes. If it can close tomorrow above this trend line, then I would be inclined to say that the sideways consolidation is over and we're probably starting the next leg of this intermediate rally. So now let me move to silver. Silver has been stronger than gold lately. You can see this RSI got heavily overbought. It got embedded in the overbought condition. And then during this corrective phase, which basically is a kind of a little bull flag pattern, um, silver was strong enough that the RSI couldn't even make it down to oversold. And I've noted this before that this is kind of the typifies or a characteristic of the advancing phase of an intermediate cycle. So if this was an intermediate top, then what you would expect to happen would be for RSI to get overbought and then get either severely overbought or stay overbought for an extended period of time, or I'm sorry, oversold. Um, and then that would be an indication that the intermediate cycle has topped and we're starting the declining phase of that larger intermediate cycle. But as you can see, that has not happened. Um, During this corrective move, the RSI couldn't even push to an oversold level here. It's a sign of a very strong market. Um, so again, we'll have to see how we open in the morning. The banks like to attack the metals in the pre-market, so we'll see if that happens and if the bulls can fight back and negate any pre-market attack, keep this price above this trend line here, and then more importantly, how we close the day. Again, I think if we can close above this trend line, then I would be inclined to say that we're probably done with this corrective move and we're starting the next leg up in this intermediate cycle. And then to finish here, I'll just look at a bigger picture because I think this is where the real potential is going to be um, in the next years. And as I said before, I think we're probably going to get our bubble phase in the metals here during this 8-year cycle. So between now and 2023, I would say we're probably, we're not too far from the all-time highs in gold. And then at some point here, silver is going to play catch up, and it's going to percentage gains in silver are going to um, massively outperform the percentage moves in gold and maybe also in miners. So the first target, which I tend to think we're probably going to get to during this intermediate cycle, would be this major resistance zone here at a little over $21. You can see multiple peaks here. The baby bull high move to here. I was kind of hoping maybe we would be able to break through this during this intermediate cycle, but it's getting late enough now that I have my doubts that this particular intermediate cycle is going to be able to break through this resistance. But I do think we're probably going to get there over the next, let's call it 3 or 4 weeks. And then I think we'll have to have another intermediate degree correction, and then it'll be the next intermediate cycle that'll probably finally break through these baby bull highs and at least get to this resistance zone here around 26, and maybe long shot we might even go to 35 during the next intermediate cycle, because as I said, silver has a lot of catching up to do to gold, and it will. And if we are about to embark on the bubble phase, and that'll happen once gold breaks out above those 2011 highs at $1,920. Once that breakout is complete, then we will start the bubble phase for the gold bull market, and at that point, silver will definitely catch up, and then at some point the percentage gains will be probably multiples of what they're going to be in gold. So this is the spot where I see the most potential. I see some pretty decent potential right here during the last several weeks of this intermediate cycle to at least test this baby bull high. But we're forming a very long multi-year base right here, and these really long bases like this can power some incredibly powerful moves. So once gold breaks out above $1,920, then it's not going to be long before silver comes back up to test these bull market highs from 2011, and then once we break out of this, there really is no telling how far silver could go at that point.